It says, "Honey, please stop and pick up 2 quarts of milk." And Susan bravely trudging around the corner. That good stuff or what? Now, someone who's afraid of heights might be afraid of this. The tribals have gathered at sunset to view the Great Arch. Hope that guy doesn't fall. Actually, imagine how cool it'd be if I caught him falling. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see the moon or not, but it's there. This moon is rising so fast, you can actually see it move. Starting out on the Devil's Garden, where I'm going to get scared out of my wits. What were you telling me, Sweetie?
At the end, you have to climb across the top of a fin, 100-foot drops on each side.
Yes.
And it's only, 8 yards across.
Oh, God. All right, now these rocks, I just think are cool, because that rock should just fall off. Someone should just push it off.
If you'll notice on the right, there's a lot of rocks sitting.
The broken ones?
The broken ones.
Okay.
And in 1991, a 60-foot slab peeled away and settled, and there were people there that had to, run away.
The primitive trail where there is
difficult
hiking. Fortunately, we are experienced hikers who hike it how often? Almost never. We're not allowed to gather any wood in the park. This is the famous blue wood. Our fins, and we're going to have to walk across the top of a fin. And that will be a mental challenge for me. I think the cairns are cool. They mark the trail. So I know from reading Abby that this is a little water hole. See that stuff that looks like mud? Well, we're kind of in a gully here. If I can show it. And it goes down to there. Okay, we're climbing now. There's a cairn. And we go up that thing to that cairn over there. This may be the fin from hell. We scrambled over this thing. Very scared. Were you scared, Susan?
I was terrified. Terrified.
This is called the Pottery Barn Formation.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm standing under Private Arch. Called Private Arch because the only way you can really see it is to come all the way to it. It's blocked by this fin on this side, and it's blocked by a fin on the other side. That's Private Arch, so you can see the arch. It's got little spots on it. This is that dark angel. It's dark, Mom.
It is dark.
Is it an angel, though?
Huh?
Feet on the angel. So we think it is the angel. Double O. Big O, little O. This was what everyone was warning us about. How did those rocks stay there? And this is the cool tree that is inside or through or whatever Navajo arch. You've seen enough arches, I'll just show the tree. This is the amazing sign with 3 arrows and 2 destinations. Partition Arch.
You gotta go around it and you can see.
That is very cool. So that we think is Tunnel Arch. And there's the trail with all the people. Walking. We're back at landscape, and up there is Partition. 2 little holes, and there's even people up there. I think that's Tunnel Arch, although maybe that's Tunnel Arch, but I think that's Tunnel Arch. I'll find out. So, going to Utah isn't all hiking. It can be elegant dining. South, right? That one's south?
It's north.
That one's south?
Yes.
north. This moon is a real car puller over. That black stuff there is alive and critical to the ecosystem.
To what do you attribute your success as a hiker?
I think it all starts with the hat. That's Middle Finger Rock. This is Park Avenue, and Joan lives right in there. We had this place all to ourselves, but no more. We got one Japanese and the other one, what were they, Australian or something?
German.
What do you think's going to happen?
That's
Which way? Utah is so attached to its delicate arch, they have put it on their license plate.
The lower layer here, it's a lot more wrinkly. This is called the Dewey Bridge member. And then the stuff that's nice and smooth on top, this is called the slick rock. And the Dewey Bridge member is actually a lot weaker than the slick rock. So when water gets in these cracks, like when it rains and the water gets on the walls and it'll freeze and thaw through the seasons, this is what weathers away first, the Dewey Bridge member. So that's why we get this opening created between the two layers. So that's typically how an arch is formed.
Oh, look at that.
Where?
Fresh bone.
What kind of bone is it?
I think it's back like spine.
Rabbit.
Of a rabbit? So we could like pick that up and gnaw on it? Plenty.
That's really cool.
Someone thought it looked like two turtles kissing, so they named it Kissing Turtles. This is called the yucca plant, and there's lots of different kinds of yucca, but this one is actually called the Harriman's yucca. And if you touch these ends, you have to be very, very careful when you touch these ends. They're very pointy. They will pierce your skin. Be real careful. They're actually so sharp that Native Americans used to use them as needles. They'd sew things with them.
Okay, we are going to touch the end. Ouch.
See that really stemmy green plant just behind the juniper? That's called the Mormon tea. And it's called the Mormon tea because early Mormon settlers, when they came to this area, they'd actually break those stemmy things off, those stems sticking up. They'd break them off and grind them up and drop them into boiling water, and they'd make a tea out of it. Have you been noticing lots of junipers that look like they're half dead and half alive? Well, they are, in fact, half dead and half alive. And this one here, this part is dead, this part is alive. So junipers have the ability to shut down part of their tree if there's a really bad drought. And when they go to the bathroom, it doesn't decompose very quickly because it's so dry out here. We are in the desert, so it's very dry, but also in the cracks in the rocks, it's even drier. So it takes a really long time for this stuff to decompose. And since the feces is organic material, scientists can date it. And there was a girl who was doing some graduate research on a pack rat midden somewhere else in the park, and she dated the feces and found it to be 18,000 years old. Oh my God. Back in 1963, there were some guys coming through the fiery furnace trying to find a route that the rangers could lead tours through, which is actually the route that we're on today, without actually building trails though. So one of the guys actually came back into this area, and he actually didn't even notice the arch until he was right about where you're standing right there. Yeah, didn't even notice it, and then all of a sudden he looked up and saw it. So, and if you discover an arch, you get to name it. So he discovered this one, and since it surprised him so much, he named it Surprise Arch.
So, we're out of the fiery furnace. There it is, fiery furnace. The Burgers of Calais. This formation is called Noah's Ark. That thing is a totem pole. That guy there is called Monument Basin. And we got a bunch of red rocks. And we have a huge canyon. Almost too difficult to take in. The human mind. Sunrise in Moab. Pictographs. No, petroglyphs. Mining equipment.